Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sherard Show. I'm your host, Sherard. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, Taco Tuesday. We actually have music royalty in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Well, in Toronto, actually. This gentleman has an incredible sound. He's opened up for some of the biggest names in the industry. And we're going to be talking to him momentarily, the legendary Mr. Sean Jones on the Sherard Show first time. But before we get to Sean, the Sherard Show is brought to you by the Pure Essence Television Network, where you can see some of the greatest episodes now trending, such as The Temptations, The Isley Brothers, Melissa Manchester, Joe Montega, and recently Michael Collier as well. Just click on the link below and you can see the greatest episodes of your life. This episode is also brought to you by iHeartRadio. If you missed this broadcast on television, you can also listen to it on iHeartRadio and you can smile and drive. And then lastly, it's brought to you by my limited edition Rah Rah shoe collection, where every $1 goes to the fight for the cure for lupus. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman has an amazing sound. He actually has the smoothest sound I've ever heard. He's opened up for some of the biggest names, from Beyonce to Stevie Wonder to Eric Benet to David Foster, just to name a few. And he's taken out his moment in time to be on the Sherard Show for this very special segment. Hits is what I do. The man himself, Mr. Sean Jones. Welcome, sir, to the Sherard Show. How are you?
I am excellent, and once again, thank you very much for having me. I the further along in my career I get, the more appreciative I am of the support that I get. So, all blessings to you, man. Honestly, thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Sean. We'll jump right into it. So, John, I was just looking at something on YouTube where you were singing, but it was not only you singing, but you were able to harmonize with five other people. One man, two men playing the guitar, one man playing the drums, a beautiful young lady singing, and you were singing as well. How were you able to make that happen so harmoniously?
You know what? That's just experience, I guess. I started back in the day with a group called In Essence, and we were a five-man vocal group, very much like Boys to Men, New Edition. That's who we kind of modeled ourselves after. And so yeah, just over the years, you start learning how to do different things. And recently, I've been playing with bands, for the last, I don't know, 15 years or so. So it's just something that I'm able to do at this point now, kind of, like this.
Well, Sean, it's interesting because so many people want to sing and many people think they can sing. But when did you know that music is what you're good at and what you want to do?
Uh, that's a funny question. I had to give this. I had a show the other night, and I was telling the audience because they had never really met me before, and it all started in ninth grade. Like before that, I liked to sing. I liked music. I played trumpet for 5 years, so music was. I liked music, but it wasn't anything that I was serious about in terms of a career path. I was going to law school as far as I was concerned when I was in high school. But in ninth grade, I was in French class, and I'll never forget it. Miss Priolo was my French teacher, and Anita Hines is sitting behind me, and I'm humming. I'm just humming. And Anita says, Miss Priolo, Sean can sing. And Miss Priolo said, Sean, come up to the front of the class and sing. Now, at that point, I wanted attention from the ladies, but I had no idea how to get it. I was so shy, so shy. So it's very surprising that I got up and went in front of the class and started singing. And every girl in that room, their eyes just popped wide open. And I was like, oh, this is how I can get the girls. Okay. And that's what started the journey. Literally, like word got around that I could sing, and I ended up meeting the other guys in Essence that were in different high schools. And we started the group and we did a bunch of stuff. But somewhere along the way, right as I was like entering university, because I got accepted, I fell in love with performing and being on stage and just seeing the reaction of people and writing songs. And it turned into a love instead of just something that, to get some chicks on the side. So that's kind of the path and it's just gone on for the last 25 years.
Now, Sean, did you remember what song you sang in ninth grade that had the girls crying?
Absolutely. It was High Five, the Kissing Game.
Of all the songs.
Of all, that was it. That was it, man.
I
It
think
was
you, I think,
that was the tune back then, and it was in my head, and I just went for
I think, ladies and gentlemen, Sean had that planned. Anyway,
it.
so, ladies and gentlemen, for those who just joined us, we're talking to the legendary Sean Jones about his career, as well as his start in music. We do see your questions. We will get them later on in the show. Now, Sean, when did you get your first record deal, and was it difficult getting your first record deal being an artist?
Yeah, I often talk about this. You know, I live in Canada, in Ontario, in Toronto. Well, I live just outside of Toronto in Hamilton, but I spend a lot of time in Toronto, which is just like 30 minutes away. Being a It's a beautiful country, wonderful city, absolutely. But in terms of being an artist here in this country, and especially a black artist doing R&B, soul music, it's very, very challenging because there's never been any infrastructure or paths set up for us to win. You know, we have like had one radio station that played, you know, R&B, soul music that was just dedicated. Oh yeah, like there was just one radio station. The rest were kind of, you know, pop, R&B per se. So they would play a mixture of stuff, but we had like one. It was called Flow 937, and that's where everybody was on. So you can imagine that if you don't have any infrastructure, if there's no paths to success, getting signed to a record deal is really, really hard. But I was with a group of guys that actually really wanted to be superstars and musicians. That's what they wanted. I was just kind of tagging along for the ride, but they were very serious about it, and they ended up, you know, pushing us to create demos, take pictures, and go to the Vibe Music Conference. Vibe magazine used to have a music conference in New York City, and every year. And so we decided that we were going to drive down there and go to the Vibe Music Conference and get signed to an American label because Canada just wasn't cutting it. And we ended up, long story, but we ended up meeting Funkmaster Flex, who became our manager. And we put out a song called You Will Never Find. And
Is,
it's
is that the one
legendary
that's off of
song.
Blue Rawls?
Well, yeah, so we but we took it and we flipped it. So we sang that song, and we were the first ones to do this. We were the first R&B group to sing over hip hop beats because Flex was so, you know, he was hip hop at the time.
Mhm.
Anyone that wanted to get broken, you know,
Mhm.
Hot 97 was the place you needed to be. Flex spun your record.
Mhm.
So he gave us a bunch of hip hop beats,
Mhm.
and one of them was Mobb Deep's The Quiet Storm. And so we ended up singing a song over it. And yes, absolutely, the Lou Rawls is where we got the inspiration. But you know, we made it a little dirty because we were like, what is it? You will never find another love like. You will never find another love like. You will never find another love to make you come out when it's done. You'll never find another love like. So yeah, it was, you know, but it was a hit. Everyone in New York, it became the anthem because we were like, I was at 233rd and White Plains, me and my boy, we was riding the train. Everybody knew that spot.
But
And
I'm
it became a hit. Like, I mean,
Now, Sean,
go ahead.
you're telling me a story of something. I don't want to interrupt you, but it's starting to click. The pieces are coming together. Was Drew Grange one of your members?
Yes,
Because he was on
yes.
the show and he told me the same story when you said Funk Master Flex. That's where it all come together. So you all were in the group together?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. We were all
Now
in
it's
the
making
group
sense.
together as
Wow.
well.
Okay. All right. Wow. So and everybody definitely check out Drew Grange's interview as well. It was a phenomenal one as well. So now I talked to Drew because he seems to be he's a bit younger, but I would talk about, when I was growing up, music videos sold the music. When I was
Yes.
growing up, like for example, the Jodeci, when you saw the latest Jodeci, the latest Boys to Men, you saw the latest Shy, you would turn around and you were ready to get the album because of that song. Did you remember
Absolutely.
that as well, Sean? Tell me about your experience
Oh,
with that.
what? 100%. It was such a different time. It was such a different time than where we're at right now. There was actually outlets where videos could be shown, you know what I mean? MTV, BET, like Much Music here in Canada. There was so many spaces where you could create this art and give it to the world, you know? And it just doesn't happen the same way anymore. But yeah, man, like I remember waiting with bated breath because they would tease a little bit of the video and you would just be waiting for the week whenever it would come out, right? And see that premiere. And they were spending money on those videos. Like $500,000, $1 million on a video. And it was all just gorgeous. And it went so well with the music as well. And you talk about Jodeci, like one of my favorite all-time groups, and the videos that they made and the music that they made, so impactful, man. Yeah, those were great days.
It's amazing you say that, Sean, because and now you got the questions lighten up. I don't know, I don't know if we can get to them all, but you got them really going crazy now with what you're saying as well. And they want you to sing a kissing t okay, maybe he can. They want you to sing it, the high five song that you sang. We'll get to that later if we have time. They want to sing that, but I got to get to my questions. You already just lighten them up. So now, Sean, I don't know if they had it in Canada, but in Chicago, when I grew up in Chicago, they had a service called the Box. It was called the Box, where
Okay.
you'll see the music video, and then they'll give you'll type in a code so you can request one. You can request it. And
Ah,
back then, it was so popular that the most played music video requested in Box history was Boys the Men, the End of the Road. It was
ooh,
absolutely insane. And then Jodeci's Cry for You was one of them, and then he had a ton of R. Kelly's and things like that. But don't you wish they
yep.
would kind of bring that back where, the music videos would kind of sell the songs like it was when we were kids?
I listen, there's a lot of things I wish could happen to the industry to bring it back. I don't know if it will ever go back to that, unfortunately. But if you're asking the question, do I wish? Yes. I truly wish that all of that was still a part of building an album. And I really wish people took the time to build albums, like proper albums, as opposed to throwing out 30 songs on a record and call it like it's you can't put your heart and soul and everything and create masterpieces on 30 tracks. Like you just can't, which is why, I respect people like Bruno Mars. People can talk about Bruno Mars, some people are like, oh, he's too pop, bubblegum, da 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 da. When that guy comes out, every single track, there might be 8 to 10 tracks at the most, every single one is quality. Just, you don't have to like the music, but understand the songwriting, the construction of the melodies, the production. It's insane. Like, and that's the kind of care that used to go into every single record that was put out back in the day. And it's just not there anymore. It's just not.
It's amazing you say that, Sean. And many, but I think everybody agrees with you in terms of that. Because, for example, you remember the Jodeci's album, the last one they put together. Well, not the last one, but this is '95. The show, the after party in the hotel.
Oh yeah.
And that
Yep.
one in on that album, it told a story, so you could just let it play because it was
Yes.
telling the story about the show, the after party in the hotel. So, when you like, for example, when somebody purchased your album, how many songs do you typically have on your album?
Um, so what did I have on there? I can't remember. The last record that I did was Weekend Lover, and it probably has more songs on there because it took so long to do. The thing with Weekend Lover, and this is actually interesting, even for me to tell this to you because I've never really thought about it too much. But here in Canada, as I said, very tough to break through when you're doing soul and R&B. And so in order to try and do that, you start compromising. And I don't know if it's so much compromising, but you go with what's working. And what worked here is more of a Motown revival type thing. So um, I was the record before Weekend Lover was a record called Take Me. and it was very much Motown revival. It feels like it harkens back to like the 70s almost in a certain sense, like certain songs, right? But folks up here find that palatable per se. Like the audience, the general audience up here finds that palatable. And so you kind of go with what you know, because you're still trying to make money. It's a career. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I want to create some songs and some records like I did with In Essence, right? Some R&B records, some classic type stuff. And so I would be writing all of this stuff, like writing, creating songs, but not recording them. And finally, I got to a point where I was just like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. Like I just said, I'm going to put out what I want to put out. And so I went in the studio and I recorded Weekend Lover, which, like I said, I don't know how many tracks that I was on. There might be 12, might be 13, but those were compiled over years. That wasn't just like I wrote them, you know what I mean, in the space of 6 months. That was like 3 or 4 years of me just stockpiling songs and being like, this might be the last record I make. So I'm just going to do all of these songs. And that's what I ended up
So, Sean,
happening.
is it more of like an anthology?
I don't think so. I think it's an ode to 90s R&B in the most beautiful way, with songs that really reflect kind of things that have happened to me, relationships that I've been in. Everything that I wrote on that record either happened to me or like happened around me or I know a lot about. So yeah, it's personal in that way. And I wrote every single song on there, like every single one, with co-writers, some of them as well. Murray Daigle, shout outs to Murray Daigle, who's a great writer and producer. But yeah, just I had a really great time, and I'm really proud of that record.
Very good, very good. Well, it's time for some questions because we're really rapidly running out of time and people are lining up. We only have time for three, but before we get to the questions, Sean, congratulations on your Windsor Arms residency for 3 months. Congratulations. That's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, thank you. It's something that came kind of out of the blue, to be honest with you. But it's a legendary hotel here in Toronto for the you folks that don't know. Everyone from I don't know Hugh Jackman to Britney Spears to like I believe like Dizzy Gillespie, Ella Fitzgerald, like all of these people have stayed at this hotel before, and so for me to get a chance to go in there, do a little residency, on Thursday nights, do my thing. It's fantastic, and it really leads up to the summer, which is what I'm really looking forward to, which is a new summer series that I'm creating at a place called the Palais Royale in Toronto. It's right on the waterfront. And once again, it has some legendary performers that have been inside that space. So, yeah, very exciting.
Sean, if I can sell enough cans, I'm going to try and buy a ticket and travel over to Toronto to see you and support the Sherard
Come
Show.
down.
But I got
Come on
I got to sell enough cans and stuff to get that and go that way. Appreciate that. Well, now it's time for our questions, ladies and gentlemen. We only have time for three. This one is from Madison. This is from Madison. She is from, oh wow, Frankfurt, Germany. Her
Frankfurt,
question,
Germany.
her question is, oh wow, it's amazing that you all, she heard that you all and Drew were in a band together and sang together. She loved that episode as well, and she's loving this one. Her question is, what is your favorite group or singer that you've ever met or that you admire?
Oh, wow. That I've ever met or admire. Okay, well, I mean, there's a bunch of them, right? There's Sam Cooke, who is to me
My favorite.
someone that I mean, come on. Every single time I hear change is gonna come, I think that I've cried enough tears over that song, and I continue to like. It's just so powerful and moving, and you know, finally figuring out the story behind it. You know what I mean? And that meeting that him and Muhammad Ali and all these players had at that time, and they talked about this. I think that that's just incredible. The nicest person that I've ever met, from an artist standpoint, is someone that many of you may not know, or you might know. His name is Burton Cummings, and he's from the Guess Who. He was one of the lead singers of the Guess Who.
Oh,
Um,
he's one of my
American
favorite. He's one of my favorite ones. People don't know he sang Stand Tall.
Yes.
That he's one of those,
Yeah.
he's one of the absolute favorite. People don't know him, but he's an incredible one. That's you know your music. You said Sam Cooke, Burt Cummings, yeah, but he's absolutely incredible. Wow. A lot of people don't know. Very
Yeah.
good.
I got a chance to interview him because I did a rendition of These Eyes. The Guess Who's These Eyes, and I had an opportunity to interview him, and I swear to God, it was like we were old friends. He just talked to me and gave me advice, and it was just the most beautiful time. So one of the nicest people I have ever met on the planet, and so talented. I've met Stevie Wonder, who was absolutely fantastic. Steven Tyler, I performed. I had a gig, and Steven was there, and I came off the stage, and Steven was like, "Dude, you got pipes, man! Oh my goodness, wow!" And it was just so loving, and just what I mean. So, yeah, there's been quite a few.
Wow, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. We got to get to two more questions. These people are
Yeah.
lining up. This one is from Alan. This is from Alan. He's all the way from Surprise, Phoenix. He said it's phenomenal to have you on the show. He's a humongous fan of yours. He says, question is, what was it like to open for Natalie Cole?
Oh, yeah, Natalie. I mean, you get a chance to. It was nerve-wracking. It's always nerve-wracking when you're like opening for a Stevie Wonder or a Natalie Cole because they're so good, and you're just worried that you're just trying to live up to some sort of level. You know what I mean? Trying to be there. But she was absolutely once again so wonderful and nice when we met, and was just like, you're a wonderful young man, keep on going, and you get inspired by those things. You know what I mean? When someone of that ilk says you have something, you kind of have to take that and be like, wow, okay, because imposter syndrome happens to everybody.
But they're not lying. They're not lying. Okay, we have time for one more question. This is from my Lima. This is from my Lima. She's all the way in Pasadena, California, out here. She said, "Wonderful, wonderful." Yes, she's such a huge fan. She wants to know, do you do your music in albums as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have check out Spotify. I think I've got 3 or 4 albums now, and I'm working on this next one. Actually, the next one might be an EP, to be honest with you. But yeah, check them out. Weekend Lover, Take Me, and Waiting for Midnight. Um, these are great records. I think they're quality songs. Like, I'm proud of all of them. But yeah, there's something on there for everyone.
So now, Sean, a lot of people are asking the same question, and where can they be able to reach out to you and keep up with what you have going, tour dates, fan page, or just being able to ask your question?
Yeah, you can ask me any questions. I'm very accessible. Sean Jones Music on Instagram and X. I'm at my Sean Jones on Facebook. And SeanJonesMusic.com is where you can, that's the website. So you can check out everything there. But if you hit me up with a question on Instagram, I will respond. Yeah, especially if you're an artist and you're looking for some sort of, any sort of opinion or help or advice. I love to help young artists. I love to help artists.
Sean, thank you so much. We really appreciate the fans. Absolutely love you as well. Wish we can get to all the questions, but just hit him up. He left his information as well. Sean, do you have any final thoughts?
No, man, you know what? I'm at a stage, and like I said, in my career where it's not just about the music anymore. It's about creating a better world, to be honest with you. And so I'm working with a lot of charities. I'm trying to create series so that I can and create stages so that other emerging artists can come and perform on my stages with a 9-piece band and like really get the word out. Because like I said, Black music in Canada is still an uphill battle. And so it's my job to help the younger generation move that forward. So that's it.
Thank you, Sean. We have one request for you. You were mentioning Sam Cooke. please sing us something to Sam Cooke to close us out. This is 30 seconds of something Sam Cooke. That would mean so much to us. But before you do, just always, make sure you subscribe to the Sherard Show on the Pure Essence Television Network, as well as on Facebook, as well as Instagram as well. And thank you so much, Sean, for stopping by on the show. Take it away.
Oh man, that's a woo. I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it is.
Sean, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Sam is looking down in glory. He is very proud. We really appreciate that.
Oh,
We're
man.
keeping him alive with his great music. He's my #1 favorite as well. Join us on our next episode of The Sherard Show, where we have the lovely Holly Berry stopping by the show. You don't want to miss that as well. And then also make sure you keep it here locked in on The Sherard Show for other news and updates as well. For Sean Jones and all those wonderful fans of The Sherard Show, as well as for Mr. Sean Jones, always remember, ladies and gentlemen, the best way to get back on your feet is to miss 3 car payments. I'm Sherard. See you next time. Bye now.